Hello and welcome to ACS Golf and this week's review. This week we are looking at a club that is going to be part of my Nike Build the Bag series. So if you're new to the channel, basically what I'm doing is building a bag of Nike clubs. I'm going to take down to Hersham, my local golf course, and see how low I can score. Currently, normally I shoot in the sort of the high 70s, low 80s, so we'll see if I can match that. Now I've already reviewed the driver for the series, which is this, the Nike Vapor Pro. And what I'll do, by the way, is I'll put a link to these reviews already in the comments so you guys can watch it if you haven't seen them already. I've also reviewed the irons, which I have 5 to 9 iron. Here you go, the Nike Vapor Pro again, so the same sort of line as the driver. And then the putter as well, which is behind me, which is the Nike Method putter. There you go. Now, the idea is only have 9 clubs. It's all I need for that sort of distance. I don't need too much, to be honest, because it is a shorter course. So I've got the wedge already, which I will do a review soon for you guys. And today we are looking at the longer iron, which I need on some of the holes, which is the 4 iron, which is the Nike VR Tiger Woods edition. So TW, look at that. I mean, it's supposed to be a Nike Build a Bag, but I feel like I've built a scratch golfer's golf bag, so it's going to be very interesting to see how I do, because I mean that's the irons I'm playing with as well. I mean, look, blades, I mean you love them, but they have no forgiveness at all. So as usual with this, let's have a closer look at the club, then I'll talk a bit about the technology. We'll get down to the range, throw some figures at you, and then we'll go through the ACS golf scale at the end. Very much looking forward to hitting this. I mean, who doesn't want to hit a club that Tiger Woods basically thought up and helped with the development himself? So exciting times. All right, let's have a look at this club closer. So there you go, a closer look at the club. Now, beautiful thing, absolutely beautiful. But then, majority of blades are, the simplicity of them is fantastic, and I do absolutely love it. Going into technology wise of this, straight away talk about obviously the lofts of them. So 18 degrees for the 2, the 3 irons 21, the 4 iron which I have here is 24, 5 iron 27 degrees, 6 iron 31 degrees, 7 iron 35 degrees, 8 iron 39 degrees, and 9 iron 43 degrees, and pitching wedge 47. So very traditional loss, as you would expect from a club that was actually released back in 2008, beginning of 2009. So very much, traditional blades. Now, what they're made of is they are a 1025 forged carbon steel. So there you go, forged head, exactly what you want for a blade, for the feel, the workability, etc. Now, finisher, by the way, is chrome, which you can sort of see there just on the bottom, which is quite nice. Now, going into sort of a bit more detail about it, compared to regional or other sort of nightclubs of the time, so the year before, you basically got the muscle back features on the back is a bit larger, so it's a bit thicker here, with the idea obviously to give that a little bit more performance and obviously have that sort of center of gravity that Tiger Woods wanted. Because when it came down to this, there was 3 clubs that got released in the same year. So they had the VR Pro, VR Pro Combo, I believe, and then the VRTW, which is Tiger Woods. Now, Tiger Woods obviously worked on all of these at the time because he was a Nike ambassador. Obviously, he was signed by Nike, but he really concentrated on this club because this was the club that was going to go in his bag. And straight away, when it got released, people like Paul Casey, who was also Nike, picked up straight away. So, very much that tour level performance in this model. So there you go. Also, you had a fractionally thicker toe line on the, there as well. Just obviously, again, help a little bit more forgiveness and obviously moving the weight around the club to get that center of gravity that Tiger Woods wanted. And also, it's fractionally longer than the previous model. So heel to toe is a little bit longer than original blades, but no more than 1/16 of an inch. So barely any. But there you go. Not a lot of technology in it, and there's not a lot of technology in blades. This is one thing you should, whenever thinking about going out and buying blades, is especially if you're looking on the second-hand market, is there's not really much you can do. And they do sort of, nowadays they put tungsten here, maybe a bit of titanium, etc. A bit like Mizuno do with the MCC range, the multi-compound construct range, to aid with a bit more forgiveness. But when it comes down to very traditional blades, there's not really that much technology in them. Like the difference between this 2008 club and maybe a brand new blade isn't going to be that much at all, because there's not really much you can do with this, is there? There's not really much you can do with a little iron like this. There's not really much you're going to do. You're obviously going to move the weight around a little bit, trying to aid a bit more forgiveness, maybe get it more center, obviously try and change the ball flight exactly. But the idea is this is a very great iron and easy to use for pros, so easy for them to shape how they want to get certain ball flights, etc. So there you go. Now, back in the day as well, you need to remember when nightclubs came out. I mean, if we just have a little look here, I mean, Nike at the time were winning after winning, winning after winning after winning. Basically, they'd won. Here we go. So Nike's irons been in the bag for 22 victories on all major tours in 2008 out of the 20, and 27 on the same tours in 2007. So 22 victories in 2008 and 27 victories in 2007. Nike irons at the time were really, really good and popular with tour players. So there you go. Now, that's a bit of the technology about it. That's a bit of talk about the club itself as well. Very much, Tiger Woods sort of baby that he had with Nike. So let's get down to range, chat about some figures, and then we'll get back here, and then I'll chat through the ACS golf scale and what I think about it. And also for you guys, anyone watching this who is a low handicapper, scratch golfer, etc., should you look to pick these up, or maybe, you know, possibly better options out there? But that really, for me, comes down to the price aspect of this club, because, like I said, blades haven't changed that much. There's not really much you can do with them to make them any better or any worse. So there you go. Okay, let's get down to the range and throw some figures at you. So here I am down at the range. Now let's get straight into those figures. So on average, the total carry was 156 yards, total distance 169 yards, ball speed 113 miles per hour, launch angle 17 and height 62. Now, the longest actually on the day was basically 182 total yards and 119 miles per hour ball speed, and the shortest was 149 yards and 103 miles per hour, which just shows you obviously how unforgiving these clubs are. Out of the middle, I was getting that sort of 175 up to 180 distance really very consistently as well. So that's one thing I really enjoyed about the clubs, is when you did hit it out of the middle, it was very consistent. It wouldn't balloon or anything like that. I knew exactly what I was going to get. Ball flight with it as well was really nice, really popped up in the air. So even though it's a 4-iron, it had really good stopping distance. I found, I hit one shot, it was 170 yards carry, and it stopped within 9 yards. So very happy with that. Regarding the feeling of the club, really pleased with it. Out the middle, it felt like it didn't even hit the ball, to be honest. It just felt absolutely great. But then other shots like that were absolutely painful. So there you go. One thing I will say straight off the bat is I enjoyed hitting this club. I really did. Don't get me wrong. I was punished by quite a lot. I mean, as I mentioned, total carry on average 169, but my longest I managed to get was 182 yards. I think the shortest was there's 149 yards. So it's a massive gap there, because obviously there isn't that much forgiveness in the club. But I will say, the moment I was, had a good sort of series where I was really hitting out the spot and I was getting around that sort of 175 yards total distance, it was very consistent. And that's great. It's one thing you need to think about when you're hitting or going for your sort of really game improvement irons or distance irons, is Sometimes every now and again you can hit a real big sweet spot on the things and they come out like an absolute rocket. I've had them before with a set from Cleveland's I had when I first started out. Lovely clubs, absolutely loved them. But I remember hitting a 9 iron, looking up, and then seeing it fly straight over the green because I hit that sweet spot. And I remember watching a Rick Shields review about it, and you even mentioned it about it on that club. So consistency is why I do love blades. Unfortunately, obviously, the drop down on distances is the forgiveness and me not being very good at hitting them. So nothing to do with the club there. That is all on me. All on me. So let's get into the ACS golf scale straight off the bat. So for me, distance, again with a blade, it's not about distance. With a blade, it's very much about that workability, that control, being able to shape it, being able to fade it or draw it or, low ball, high ball, etc. So for me, the workability with things great. I mean, I really feel like if I wanted to, I could try and fade it. If I wanted to draw it, I could, very much with my normal draw shot that was there. If you want to hit a low ball, high ball, you can. So workability wise, very good. Distance wise, though, it's not built for distance. So I've given it a 2 out of 5, but that's nothing to say bad about this club. It's only because blades aren't built for distance. So 2 out of 5, but nothing really for me is a category that's irrelevant because it's nothing to do with the club itself. So moving on, feel. Bladed iron, it's going to feel buttery soft. The moment I hit, well, not all the time. Obviously, if you get like the cheapest blades you can find online, maybe not. But for this club, like out the middle, it felt like I didn't even hit it. It's so soft, lovely, lovely, lovely. I mean, it was such a pleasure to hit it out the middle and hit it on that sweet spot. Really is a joy. If you never hit a blade before in your life, for me, it's one of the best things in golf is when you get a blade out the middle. It is gorgeous. So you go and buy yourself a cheap blade, maybe not too cheap, but go and get yourself a nice blade and just give it a go one day because the feeling is phenomenal. I love it. It's great. So feeling is 4.5 out of 5. Yes, could be a 5, but don't get me wrong. I love the feeling of this. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. But I think a Mizuno from the same period of time, or maybe a more recent Mizuno, might feel that a little bit better. So 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. I mean, it's got to be up there with one of the best I've ever felt. So really happy with that. Looks, I mean, I love the red. Obviously, that's Tiger Woods colours. Very simplistic with a Nike tick. I mean, everything about the club. It's gorgeous. So really happy with that. So 4 out of 5 for the looks. Very pleased with that. Forgiveness. It's a blade. It's a Tiger Wood Pacific blade that he's produced himself. Let's be honest, in 2008, where he was near, maybe not 2004, where he was really at his peak of his powers, but he was still winning. So forgiveness is 1 out of 5. Forgiveness is 1 out of 5. It is not a forgiving club. Like, it's not. I mean, anyone who thinks a 4 iron that thin, that butter knife is going to be forgiving is mad. So 1 out of 5, not that forgiving at all. But again, it's a blade. You're not buying it for forgiveness. If you're buying something forgiveness, T200s behind I have are more forgiving. Obviously, I've got JPXs up in here as well. They're really forgiving. So not forgiving at all. But it's not the point of a blade. So again, irrelevant category in my mind. Let's move on. But yes, don't get me wrong. It's always nice to have forgiveness. Even the pros need forgiveness. So there you go. Anyway, on to price. Now, this is the sticking point for me with this club. And one reason why I probably won't be suggesting you guys, if you want blades, to go out and buy this and put it in the bag, even though it is a lovely looking club, because of this issue. So 3 to pitching wedge on a second-hand store. For example, over here, Golf Clubs for Cash. If you're in obviously USA, I mean Replay Golf, etc. So that's a big one over here in the UK. Is £402.99, which is around $500 for 3 to pitching wedge. That's a lot of money. Remember, this is a 2008 club. For a 2008 club, that is a lot of money. I mean, you can pick up lots of different things, to be fair, between 2008 and up to, obviously today, 2023, for the same price, if not cheaper. I mean, you could get old Mizunos for £200, from the early tens, which feel just as good as this, perform exactly the same for a fraction of the price, maybe £200, so $250, for example. So price really is a sticking point, to be honest. I mean, another one I found on website online is £420 again, so $525. I mean, if you're looking at single clubs as well, we're talking like £85, $100, for example, for a 4-iron, 5-iron, £80, $100. But with anything, if you really want this type of club, because it is a beautiful club, don't get me wrong, there's also a collectability aspect to it. I mean, it is a TW, it is a Tiger Woods iron. Finding these in good condition, if you want to purchase these and you look after them, they're probably only going to go up, because anything that has that TW stamp on it really does increase in value the further we get up, and they become rarer and rarer, because who doesn't love Tiger Woods? So yeah, so you can, but you can also, so you can obviously spend the money, and like I said, you might not be out of pocket. Use them for a year, look after them, and you probably sell them for the same price the next year. If you really want this and you want that TW stamp and you want that sort of collectible aspect of it. But you can also find a few deals on it as well. Now, someone sold a set 3 to pitch and wedge on eBay for £260, so $325, and that's a little bit more like it for me. That's more sort of what I would say. Even for a 2008 Cup, though, I'd still expect it to be under that £200 mark, but it's a little bit more reasonable. I mean, I hit the jackpot with this. I mean, we've got a Project X shaft, stiff as well, and I managed to pick this up for £28, so $35 including delivery. So there are bargains to have with it. With anything in the second-hand market, you just need to keep your eyes out. But because of their own prices, I'm giving it a 1 out of 5 for the price. So yeah, if you're looking for a normal blade, you're really good player, scratch, low digit player, or maybe a mid handicapper who just really, one aspect of the game is really great is the irons. You can really hit the spot all the time, and you're putting or something else letting you down, and you want blades. They're great, but I just think there's a lot more cheaper options out there on the second-hand market. I mean, have a look for Mizuno's, because nothing feels like a Mizuno. I'm a big advocate for Mizuno irons. I love them. And you'll be able to save yourself a bit of money and maybe buy yourself a new second-hand driver, or get yourself a putter, or something like that. So there you go. There's my review of the Nike VR TW irons. Beautiful clubs, out the middle, really good feeling. Flight of the ball, fantastic. Looking forward to have it out on the golf course and my Nike Build the Bag. So yeah, but honestly, there's better options out there for the money. So do remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss, obviously, the last piece of the puzzle when it comes down to the Nike bag, and obviously don't miss me taking this out on the golf course. And obviously give it a like if you basically like this video. Sorry, give it a like. Really appreciate it. And comment down below. Would you put this 4-iron in your bag? Would you be happy to hit that? In a short par 3, or the second shot off in a par 5. Do let me know. Okay, I'll catch you guys next week for the next week's review. See you then.